the introduction, sir. Now I will share the screen. The screen is clear now, sir. Visible?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed by the divine. Good morning to everybody. Today, like sir said, we are going to discuss and think about this topic of numbers and Vethathiriyam. So we all know that numbers are number is an integral part of our life. So without numbers, we cannot do anything. Like for example, right from having money is important. So money is in number. Okay, science, for which mathematics is the basis. So mathematics is based on numbers. So numbers are integral part of our life. So this has been explained and this has been emphasized by many scholars from right from the olden days to the recent scholars. So in this topic, what we are trying to analyze is how Maharishi has looked and used these numbers to explain Vethathiriyam to us. Okay, so let us go ahead and look at this one. So today what we are going to do is we are going to have a look at the numbers from 10 to 0 in the reverse order, not from 0 to 1. Okay, so first let us start with the number 10. So we know that there are 4 types of yoga: Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, and Karma Yoga. And Karma Yoga is very important. Even if you do all the 3, without Karma Yoga, it will be very difficult to attain the purpose of life. So this has been explained by many, and it has been explained by our Maharishi in a very simple manner, which any layman can also understand and practice in life. So let us look at what is the Maharishi has given 10 principles for Karma Yoga. So let us look at one by one and understand how this will play an important role in leading a karma in the life of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means doing the duty. The yoga means a huge, the unison by performing our duties normally, or what we have to do correctly. So first thing what Maharishi says is we have to respect mother, father. See, we all know that Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. So what Maharishi has given is, he has given a different angle into this. If you look at the order, Mata, Pita, Guru, government, and then God. So what Maharishi says here is, wherever we are living, we have to follow the government also. Okay, it is not that we can do anything what we want. So we have to follow the government. So Maharishi has introduced this angle of government so that we will follow the law and order and live like a good citizen in wherever we are living. And the next thing is what Maharishi is telling is, he's talking about God. So what he says is, God is omnipresent. We know God is present everywhere. So there is a saying in Tamil, Thunilum irupar, Thurumilum irupar. So if this is the case, then God is present inside us also. So what Maharishi says, we have to understand that divinity is present in all of us as consciousness. So if we understand that divinity is present in ourselves as consciousness and in every other living beings and human beings as a consciousness, then we will lead a path of Karma Yoga. So this is also very important, which is emphasizing as point number 2. In the third point, what he is telling, we know about the deeds, thought, word, and deed are integral part of this us. So what Maharishi says is, we have to lead a life in which we are not giving pain or taking pain to anybody or us by means of thought, word, or deed. So for this, we have to live in the state of awareness. So if we are in the state of awareness, we will not do any harm to self or anybody else by means of thought, word, and deed. So this is the point number 3, which he is explaining. And the next point what he is telling is, we have to have moderation in 5. So we all know this, whoever is following for Vethathiriyam, and this has been explained by all our professors in many of the lectures. So what are those 5? Food, rest, work, sex, and thought. So what Maharishi says is, we should have moderation in all these 5 to lead a karma yoga life. And then the next item says, what the next item is, we have 3 virtues. And these 3 virtues are morality, duty, and charity. So we should lead a life with by following all these virtues of morality, duty, and charity. And then the next thing is talking about duties. So we all know what is duty. Duty is nothing but due to society. So we have to give back to society what we get from the society. So what he says is he is keeping the duty in the order. So what is the order? Self, family, society, country, and the world. Okay. So what he says is we have to do the duties to all these 5 without affecting each other. So this is the message he is giving in the name of duty. And then the next thing is, what he says is everyone has to strive and follow and to attain the spiritual knowledge and to work for the world peace. This is also one of the principle of karma yoga. And the next thing what he says is everyone shall respect women. Okay, so the women should be respected, and it's not only respect, it is with the gratitude we have to respect them. What he says in Tamil is pen kulathai nandri unarvudan madippen. So we have to show gratitude to women, because the other half of the world is created or given by the women only. So we have to show the gratitude to women. And the next thing what he says is the charity, like one of the 3 virtues. Charity, what he says, at least 1% of our income shall be spent for benefit of others. So by name of charity. And the last thing is the purification of soul is important. And what he says is we have to follow meditation and introspection to purify our soul. So these are the 10 principles of karma yoga, which is explained by Maharishi. So here Maharishi has used the number 10 in explaining this one. And then let us go one more example for 10. So what Maharishi has done is he has used the stages of mind. He has explained that stages of mind, that mind is having 10 stages, how the mind is working. So we all know what is mind. And then here what we can say is, what he says is, first is sensation. When you have the sense, when you get the sensation, then the need arises. And after the need is arising, we will take the effort for fulfilling the need. And when you want to fulfill the need, everyone will take some action. And each and every action has a result. So every action has a result. And due to the result, there will be some enjoyment, anubhoham we call. And then because of this enjoyment, we will have an experience. So these are the 7 stages for every living being in the world. So for example, let us take an example of food, okay, or hunger or eating. Okay, when there is a sensation to have, when you are hungry, so the need arises for food. So what we do, probably we make an effort to prepare the food. Okay, so during the food, by this what we are do, we will be cooking the food, and because of the result, we will get the food. When you eat the food, we will enjoy the food. And suppose if somebody says things about that rasgulla or some sweet or some other food we ate many years back, we get the experience and we have the feeling, okay, oh, that was very good, or maybe that one was not good. So these are the 7 things which is for all the living beings. And next to 3 stages, and because of this experience, we can, what we do is we research on that experience, what is good or what is bad, and then we realize what is good and what is bad, and in the end we conclude that. So these 3, the last 3 are unique for human beings. So when we do this, when we go through these 10 stages of mind, it means the up to the 5 senses, they stop with the experience. But since we are blessed with the 6th sense, we are able to do the research. And if we follow the same example of the food, just to understand the concept, suppose if you eat some food and you get a pain, like Muthu sir used to say, you take a half kilo halwa, if it is very tasty in the morning, and then you get a stomach pain. So then we know what is the effect of eating more quantity. So we do the real research, and then we realize what is the effect of this, and then we conclude, okay, from next time onwards, I should not eat very high or this much quantity of this one in order to enjoy the food. So this is how the mind works. And so far, I think if you look in the science, we have developed so much in the world. We are able to do so many things, but this mind has not been properly decoded by the scientific community so far, because there is no empirical proof of mind available. And since this is an imperceptible thing, we are still not able to get to the bottom of it by the scientific means. But Maharishi and other scholars or the gurus or jnanis, they have explained about mind, and Maharishi has put this explanation to understand about the mind in a very, very simple way. So this is about these are the two examples for the number 10. And then if we go to the 9, and then we know that we are having 9 kinds of meditations given by Maharishi. So when you see, if you look at when we were discussing about the Karma Yoga, we says that for purification of soul, we need meditation and introspection. Okay. So not only telling us what to do, Maharishi has given us practices to follow this or to carry on with the practice of purification of soul by giving us this 9 types of meditation. So this meditation is very important for attaining or for in order to carry on with the process of purification of soul. So we have 9 meditations given by the Maharishi. And another example of 9 is, we all know that the 9 center meditation is an important one given by Maharishi. That doesn't mean that others are not important, but this is also one of the very important thing. And let us go through what are the 9 and why Maharishi has given this. So what are the things we do here? We meditate on the 7 centers in our body, which are Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipuraka, Anahata, Visukti, Agna, and Turiyam. So we all know that these are the centers in our body which are directly linked with the endocrine glands, which forms a very major, so that is an important in our body. So these act as a transformer in between to carry the energy from in the body. So what Maharishi has done is, he has connected us, or he has made the practice of connecting us to the universe. So we all know that we came from the divinity only. So what he has done is, he has given us 2 more levels, which is the universal field, and the next one is static field, which is the ultimate state. So this meditation helps us to realize what is the static state. And I think Muthu sir has given a very good explanation about this one in the lecture. So what we have been told is, when you do the meditation in the static field, you have to become one with the absolute. So when we continuously do this meditation, it helps us to realize that where we have come from and what is the purpose of our life. So this meditation helps us in achieving, or it helps us to follow the path of achieving the realization of our what is the purpose of life. So, and then these are the 2 examples of how Maharishi has taken the number 9 and explained the philosophy. Then 8. For the 8, he has used one of the explanations like, there are 8 special features of a living thing. So any living thing has these 8 features as per Maharishi. So what are those? The first one is physical body, and then there is a life energy for every body, every living thing, and then there is a biomagnetism which is there in the living thing, and then there is a genetic center, because whenever there is a circulation, there is a center. So this is genetic center, and we know what is the genetic center. And there is a brain, and there is soul also. There is a mind, and then there are sense organs. So these are the 8 special features of a living thing. Just if you imagine, if you remove any one of these 8, then it is not a living thing. So Maharishi has explained about, when he was explaining about mind and life, so he has used this explanation for us to understand about the living thing. So this one example I could find out in the for 8 in his books. So let us go to the next, is number 7. So if you go to the number 7, we know no two human beings are unique. Even if even if you see the twins born maybe few minutes apart also, they are not identical. So we know that this is we have seen this, or we have experienced by meeting people about this. But what Maharishi has given is, he has given the explanation which will help us to understand why men differ. So if we understand this reason why men are differing, then we will not have the enmity or what nafrat towards the fellow human being. So we know that if we understand why there is a difference between this, then we will not actually differentiate people why they are different. So what are those 7? Let us look at it. The first one is physical structure, and the second one is character, and then third one is knowledge. So no two human beings are unique or the same in the knowledge. And then the next one is fame. So we know the fame because one can be very famous, the other one is not so infamous in the other way also. And then the physical strength of two human beings are different. And then the comforts where they are having is different. And then the wealth what they are having is different. So if we understand that two human beings are different because of these 7 differences, and then we will appreciate the differences and we will lead a harmonious life with our fellow human beings. So this is where Maharishi has used the number 7 in his teachings. And then let us look at the another one. We all know, whoever has attended Kaya Kalpa Yoga, and in this Maharishi has explained about how the food is converted. So there are 7 steps of conversion of food. So here the numeral or the number 7 is used by Maharishi. So we all know the food what we eat is first converted into, gets into juice, and then juice is then to blood, and then from blood it gets converted into flesh, and flesh to fat, and fat to bone, and then bone to bone marrow, and the final one is SVF. So we all we are all explained what is the significance of our sexual vital fluid in Kaya Kalpa Yoga, and how this is being produced in the body through what we eat. And this actually gives us a very good understanding of how to eat. So the moderation in 5, which is food, is one of the moderation. So here, if you look at this one, juice, blood, flesh, and fat. Okay, so if there is an issue in any of this conversion, probably the fat gets stored somewhere. So there is some issue in the blood, or there are some issues in the bone. So we understand also how the food we eat gets converted into each and every process, and then we will be mindful and we will be aware of this process whenever we are eating, and this will help us to avoid the problems by overeating or undereating. So here Maharishi has used the number 7 in explaining this. So these are the 2 examples of 7. And let us go to number 6. So the number 6 has been used by Maharishi. We all know that the maneuver of 6 temperaments. So we all know how this 6 temperaments, or how bad it is for the human being. So let us look at them one by one. And he has not only explained about the problems of the 6 temperaments, and not only this, and he has given how this can be converted, or how this can be transformed into the good one, so that we can lead a good life. So he is not only preaching, but he is giving us methods to follow also, so that we can follow what we learn or what we get from our master. So the first one is greed. So this is one of the 6 temperaments which we need to be removed from us. and then the next one is anger, and then miserliness, and then immoral sexual passion, vanity, and then vengeance. So we all know what are the ill effects of all these things. So greed means when if we are greedy, definitely we will be getting into trouble. Either we and our fellow human beings are also, they will also get into trouble because of our greed. And anger, we all know how bad the anger is. And Maharishi has given a very good introspection tapping for anger. So anger also is very bad, and this has been explained by many sages, saints, scholars. Like for example, Thiruvalluvar. There is one couplet which there are 10 couplets for anger, and there is one thing. There is one couplet which he says, "Sinamennum சேர்ந்தாரை கொல்லி இனமென்னும் ஏமப்புனையை சுடும்." So what he is telling in this couplet is, anger will not only spoil or it will not only destroy the person, but it will destroy the family also. So Yemapunaya Sudu means, so this is what he has given in the, this is one of the couplets which he says about the anger. And then miserliness, and because of the miserliness, we all know that either we are taking everything is mine, or means all things belong to me only. So this also is not good for us. And then we all understand immoral sexual passion, vanity, and vengeance. So what is vengeance? Vengeance, we all know that if we are not able to express our anger on somebody, it gets stored. It is like a building up of dam. Okay, the water gets filled up, and when the level reaches beyond a point at which it cannot hold anymore, the dam gets burst. So in the same way, the vengeance come out from every human being. So this also will be, this is also not good for our life. So what Maharishi says is, when the greed has to be converted, or this has to be transformed into contentment. So a contented life, a person with a contented life, he will lead a yogic life. So yogic means it is not being a sannyasi. Yogic is in unison with everything. So actually Maharishi has explained this in a triangle: we, the society, and the divinity. So when we had a contented life, there will not be any conflict in this three. And then the anger has to be transformed into something, the thing called patience. So this patience is very important. And there is some actually there was one lecture about, or Maharishi has said, I believe, maybe sir can correct, there is they say patience has a limit, but Maharishi has given, I think, there is no limit for patience. So we should not limit the patience by having a limit. So patience is limitless actually. And then the miserliness, we should have charity, and this is also one of the principles explained in karma yoga. So we have to do charity. The charity can be either by thought, word, or deed, or even by money. So this is, so the charity can be in any form. And then the immoral sexual passion, we should have chastity. So chastity is very important for both the genders, and unfortunately we have been misled by that this chastity is not applicable for both the genders, but Maharishi has given very clearly that chastity is applicable for both the genders. It is not only for women. So this also, the immoral sexual passion has to be convert, or it has to be changed to chastity. And then the vanity means what is called in Tamil is uyarvu thavu manapanmai. So what I think is, either I think I am big or I am small. So if I see somebody who is lower than me, I just assume that I'm much bigger than them. Or the other way, when I see somebody who is much above me, I may feel that I am just nothing in front of them. So the parity, which means near nirai unarvu. So there is no difference between anybody. So if we get this parity, it is also good. And then the vengeance, we have to convert or we have to transform the vengeance into forgiveness. So once you start getting into this, developing the habit of forgiveness, we will be leading a very good life without any problem. So these are the 6. In this, Maharishi has used the numeral 6 of temperaments. And then the next example of 6 is the reason for thoughts. So if you look at the introspection, the first thing is thought. Okay, so we know that thought is basis of everything. So thought becomes word, and word gets into deeds. So thought is the basis of everything. So if we are trying to understand, or if we try to to understand the thoughts and how the thoughts are coming and how we can handle them, then we will be not getting into the next level, okay, of the issues. So here Maharishi is explaining about reasons for thoughts. So the reasons for thoughts, he says there are 6 reasons for thoughts. The first one is needs, and then the habit, and then the circumstance, and then the others influence or force of others thought, and then hereditary, and then the last one is divinity. For example, if you take a very basic need of like coffee in the morning, okay, so there is a need. So the need, this can be due to many things. So my body needs coffee, this is one thing. The habit, so we have been habituated right from our young age that as soon as I get up after brushing, I will need a cup of coffee. So this is a habit. Or it can be due to the circumstances also. In our home, if everybody drinks coffee, for example, then you will also be taking that, okay. And then force of other thoughts. Suppose if somebody says that if I have never taken coffee, they say coffee is good, you have to try, it is very refreshing and all. So then we get into this, okay, let us have the coffee. And then the next two, hereditary and divinity, will not fall in this example. And for example, for divinity, we know that all Mahans are great scholars. Because of the divinity only, they are able to do this. For example, in case of our Maharishi, his aim is world peace. So that divine power only, it gave actually the thought of peace, the world peace is only because of the divinity. That is the reason for the thought which came to Maharishi. So these are the 6 reasons for thoughts. So here the Maharishi has used number 6. And then the next, let us go to number 5. So we know what are the 5 sinful deeds. So here Maharishi has given do's and don'ts in all the numbers. So if you look at the numbers, some numbers there are do's and some numbers there are don'ts also are there. So here we can look at the 5 sinful deeds, like what they say in Tamil is kolai, kollai, kalavu, sudu, karpazhippu, which is murder, theft, and then gambling, rape, and murder. So these are the 5 sinful deeds. This is because of I and mine. So these things have to be avoided. And then the next 5 is, as we have seen in the principles of Karma Yoga, we need to have moderation in 5. And then the next duties, and this also we have seen in the Karma Yoga principle. So there are duties to 5 duties we should have. And then here actually Maharishi has given this very important thing we need to understand. What are the abilities and what we can achieve, what are the abilities we will get, or what are the highlights of the meditation. So what Maharishi has given is, we will develop these things or these abilities, like for example, perspicacity, receptivity, magnanimity, adaptability, and creativity. So these are the 5 abilities we will develop if we do the meditation continuously. So these are very important abilities for any human being. And if we develop these abilities, we will have a very, very good life, both in personal as well as we will be able to achieve the purpose of life. And then what Maharishi says is the highlights of the meditation. So what are the highlights, or what are the benefits which we do or we get out of the meditation? First is harmony. So there will be harmony in our life. So we will start looking at everybody equal. So there will not be any dispute. So this will have a harmonious life. And then the satisfaction. Satisfaction is very important to have a beautiful life or to attain this. And then next one, we will get happiness if you do the meditation. And then the wisdom. So we will be getting wisdom, or we will be able to attain that one. And then the last but not least is peace. So there will be inner peace if we continuously do the meditation on a regular basis. So if you look at the principle, no, there is like the management, there is something called top-down approach and bottom-up approach. So top-down is somebody in the top decides, and then this is passed down as a rule. Okay, you have to follow this, you have to follow this. But what Maharishi has used is bottom-up approach. So if you look at the saying, he has told in Tamil, it is called Thirachi Murayil Purachi Varavendam. So here, if I get inner peace, then the people around me will notice the difference in me. Suppose if we are in office, we are not, we are very short tempered, or we will shout for everything. Okay. For example, if that kind of person is slowly getting transformed due to meditation, and then what his colleagues will start noticing the difference in him, and they may ask him also, what is the reason for your change? And then if when he explains that I have been following this simplified Kundalini yoga, for example, and then slowly I have been able to change, then his colleague also will get interested, and he may also start doing. And the same thing in the family also. Suppose between the partner, if one of the partner starts changing, then there will be the influence on the other partner, and as also on the children within the family. So this is how Maharishi is expecting the peace to come. So the one of the highlight of the meditation is peace. So once we achieve the peace, it will be for good for us, and it will be an example for the others also. And then Maharishi has given very important meditation, which is Panchendriya meditation. So this Panchendriya meditation, we all get in touch with the, or we are in contact with the world, or the worldly things only through the senses. So what Maharishi has given, this meditation, it is based on it is on all our senses. So this meditation will help us in regulating our senses, and this helps us in attaining our purpose of life also. So these are the examples of number 5. Then let us have a look at number 4. So what here Maharishi has given is, he is explained the characteristics of divinity in 4. So plenum, force, conscious, and time. So these are the 4 characteristics of the divinity, which is Vatra Iruppu, Peratral, Perarivu, Kalam. So these are the 4 things which explain. And then the next is what sky practices. So there are 4 parts of sky practices. The 4 are meditation, introspection, sublimation, and perfection. So this is actually, he has given, like a psychiatrist, he has given the steps. It is not the one before the other. For example, if I do meditation, if you do meditation, our willpower increases, and then only with the willpower we will be able to carry out with the introspection. For example, thought analysis, we should not get angry. So if we want to do those practices, we should have a willpower to do what we want to do. So Maharishi has given it in a very, very clear manner. First, let us start with the meditation, and once we start getting or developing our willpower, then we have to go for the introspection steps. And then once we do the introspection steps properly, and there also he has given one after the other, and there also the order is very, very clear. And then there will be sublimation, and once you have this, then only we can attain perfection. So these are the 4 steps in sky practices. Then he has given another important thing. What he is insisting is, we can hear in many of his lectures about the family peace. So what Maharishi says is, without family peace, we will not be able to achieve anything. So for any human being, if there is no peace in family, he or she, when he goes to work or when he deals with other human beings or the situations outside the home, this will have a very big negative impact on the human. So what the Maharishi says is, we have to understand first, if you don't want to have the conflict in the family, we should know what are the reasons for the conflicts in the family. Once we understand those reasons, then there will be no conflict in the family. So what Maharishi says is, there can be 4 reasons for this quality differences. One is need, the second one is quality, third one is quantity, and this is time. So we can just understand by a very basic example. If there is a need, for example, we need a television. Okay. So the we can take any example for we buy in the house. Whether there is a need for that, there will be conflict. There can be a conflict between the partners. So I may say, I need this object. Maybe my wife will say, no, we don't need this. The second one is quantity, whether we need to buy one or two or many. Okay. And then the quality. So here the quality means this brand, that brand, maybe this size or that size. And then the last one is time. So I may think that I don't need it now. I may need it after 1 year or 1 month or 2 months. And maybe my partner will tell that I need it now. Okay. So these are the 4 on which we will get the conflicts. So once if it is understood by everybody, then the conflicts will come down in the family. So these are the examples of 4. And then comes number 3. And here what Maharishi has given is, we have these 3 blemishes which creates issues in us. So which is ego, imprint, and illusion. So we have to deal with them properly. So ego, illusion, and imprints and illusion. And then there are, and then 3 he is using in the, when he explains the stages of soul, which is Kamadhenu, Karpagam, and Chindamani. Here there are he is using the number 3. So Kamadhenu means Kamam plus Dhenu. So when our soul functions based on needs, okay, Icha, okay. So that stage is Kamadhenu. And from that stage, we have to move to the next stage of Karpagam. Karpagam means Karpu plus Agam in Tamil. And then the 3rd stage is Chindamani, which is Sindai Maniyanile. So first we will be in this Kamadhenu stage, then we have to go to the next stage, and the ultimate stage is Chindamani. Sindai Maniyanile means our soul is in a pure state. Okay. So this here Maharishi is using the number 3. And then as we all know, Maharishi has given this, we have to take care of our 3 needs, 3 protections, 3 virtues, and 3 stages of knowledge. So here Maharishi has used 3, and we have seen these virtues in the earlier slide also. And then again, coming back to the family peace, he has given do's and don'ts for family peace, which is very important. Again, what to do, what not to do in order to do. So if you look at the, what do you call, the what not to do, which is fault finding, commanding, and expectations. So if these 3 are there will not be family peace. So we all will understand very easily, if we start finding fault with others, then there will be not harmony anywhere, whether in the family or in the workplace or anywhere in the world. And then next is commanding and expectations. So these 3 we should not have. And what we should have is very important, like tolerance, adjustment, and sacrifice. So if we don't have these 3, the 3, and if we have the 3, which is tolerant, acceptance, and sacrifice, then the family peace is guaranteed. So there will be no dispute or no issues in the family life. So here Maharishi has used number 3 here. And then there are 3 growth levels when we are following the sky meditation practices. So first thing is, we will be having the expansion of mind. So what is the problem of human being? We try to limit ourselves within us. So we are not letting our mind expand. So Maharishi's meditation techniques, like for example, Turiyadidam or this 9 center, he says that let us expand our mind to the vastness of the universe. So our mind gets expanded. So this is one of the level. And then next is, we will be able to understand the laws of nature. So by this sky practices, we are able to understand the laws of nature. Law of nature is very important to lead a dutiful and to attain the life principle or the purpose of birth also. And then the last one is, by these sky practices, we will be maintaining awareness in thought, word, and deed. So these are the 3 levels of growth, or what we attain if we are following the sky practices. So this number 3 is used here. And then when Maharishi explains about divinity, there are 3 capabilities of divinity. So when we hear the lecture on transformation, we have heard about this also. The first is transformation, mutation, and cause and effect. So these are the three capabilities of the divinity. So this has been explained by Maharishi very clearly, how the universe evolved based on these three principles. So, and then what Maharishi has given is, there are ways to purify our genetic center. So genetic center is very important. He called the justice, okay, the court of justice, or so the actually the GC can be purified in three ways. So this is also where the number 3 is used. And then let us go to number 2. So number 2 is what we should not have is I and mine. So if we look at the 6 temperaments, the I and mine is the reason. This what Maharishi used to explain is, these are like the husband and wife. They give birth to the other issues. Okay, so I and mine has to be removed from us. And then he has given one more very good thing to follow. The do is twofold moral principle. So we all know about what is twofold moral principle. What we do is, in the end of every meditation, we take the oath, like, I in my lifetime will not harm anybody, either physically or mentally. To the possible extent, I will remove the pain of others. So this will help us to lead a dutiful life and attain the purpose of or the purpose of birth also. So here Maharishi has used the number 2. And then if you go to number 1, what we should not have, number 1 is ego. So ego, what Maharishi says, he has explained it very, very simple. Ego, he says in Tamil, is irai maradi, which means whenever I forget divine, I get into this ego. So that means everything is because of me. So we should not have the ego. So this has been explained by Maharishi in very explained detail. And then the another one is divinity. So he has explained very clearly, divinity is one. So there are no differences. There is only one, which is divine, which is controlling everything and which is present everywhere, and which is present inside also. So here Maharishi has used the number 1. And then let us come to the last but not the least, it is 0. Okay. So normally we say, okay, 0 doesn't have anything on its own. Okay, we feel that 0, if somebody gets 0 marks, and then people think that, okay, there is no use, so that person is not studying properly, so he gets 0. But 0 is got a very different meaning by Maharishi. Okay, so what he has written is, we have something called the blossoms of life, and in the blossom of life, he has dedicated for one day about this 0. So what Maharishi says is, 0 and the venerated, he has given one thing. So what is, first to understand what is veneration. So the venerate is to regard with reverential respect or with admiring difference. So the literal meaning of venerate is this, or to honor with the ritual action of devotion. Okay, this is what venerate means. And then if I look at the synonyms for venerate, what they are adore, to glorify, to revere, to worship. Okay, and it is called reverence also. So what Maharishi says in this is 0. 0, what he says is, out of all the numerals, 0 is the only one which has a perfect shape. So what does he mean by perfect shape is, there is no sharp edge, or there is no curve or anything, like, for example, 1, 2, 3, if you look at all the numbers, it is curved or it is having some kind of form change or anything. But whereas 0, there is no twist or turn or sharp edges. So there is no beginning or end in 0. Okay. So this is what he explains in like infinity, there is no beginning or end in 0. And another thing what he talks about is, 0 does not possess a value on its own. So the value of 0 is depending on where the 0 is. Okay, this is what he is explained in that particular on that day. Okay, so the position of 0 is important. So if I put 0 in front of 1, okay, then the value increases. And if the same thing at the same time, if the 0 is taken on other side of the number, okay, so if I see whether it is the front or back, the value changes drastically of the 0. So what he says is, this is also the case with God. Okay. So what he says is that God is zero. So that doesn't mean that it is not value. So he is without the value of his own. Okay. What Maharishi says is God is without a value of his own, but his presence increases the worth of an individual. So if the zero is in front of one, so the value increases. And the same way, if it goes on the other side, the value decreases. So as an individual, if we adore God or if we woo him wholeheartedly, we will get value. So ignoring God, which is ego, okay, so we relegate him to the background, so that diminishes our value. So this is how Maharishi explains zero. And also Maharishi, what he has explained is the master also, he says it is zero. Okay. So he has given one Kavi in his Gnana Kalanjiyam book. What he says is Pujyate pol nirevai பொருத்தமுல சிறப்புடையோர் பூஜ்யர் எனப்படுவர் புனித நிலை குருநாதர். So here what he says is the one who is like zero. Zero means without any twist, turn, or there is no beginning or end, like an infinity. They are, means the guru also is like this zero. So these are some of the examples of which Maharishi has taken for explaining, or where he has used the numerals from 10 to 0. He has used other numerals also, but for this discussion I have just taken from 10 to 0. So let us follow all the principles given by Maharishi, and where he has used this concept of using the numbers also. And we will follow the practices of Maharishi, and let us attain the purpose of birth.